Hello friends, in today's video session we will discuss on the different encoding techniques for converting a digital data into analog signal as well as converting the analog data into analog signal. So today we'll see what are the different transformation that can be possible for the analog signal. Okay. So in digital to digital transmission, we have seen that how the digital data is converted to a digital signal and analog data is converted into a digital signal. So in digital to analog conversion, it is a process of changing one of the characteristics of an analog signal based on the information given in the digital data. And we know that a analog wave, or we can say a sine wave, it is represented by using three characteristics, that is amplitude, frequency and phase. So these are the three different important characteristics of any analog signal or a sine wave, which is represented as an analog signal. So as a part of discussion, we are going to talk about the aspects of digital to analog conversion. Then we also see what are the different techniques to convert the digital data into an analog signal. So basically there are four techniques that we will discuss: amplitude shift keying, frequency shift keying and phase shift keying, and the last technique is the quadrature amplitude modulation. So you can easily observe here that basically these are the characteristics of the a sine wave or an analog signal. Okay. So now in digital to analog conversion, the digital data, it needs to be carried on an analog signal. So a carrier signal, or we can call it as a frequency, which performs the function of transporting the digital data in an analog waveform. Hence, the analog carrier signal is manipulated to uniquely identify the digital data which is being carried. So in this figure, you can observe that a digital data is carried over the analog signal. Okay, and analog signal is basically transmitted through a channel, transmission channel. But before we carry this data, digital data using analog signal, you can find it here using modulator. The digital data is converted into a analog signal, and at the receiver's end, this analog signal is further decoded into a digital signal or digital data. So this is very important. So as I already mentioned, there are four different types of digital to analog conversion. So the digital to analog conversion is further classified as, or it can be achieved using four different techniques. One is amplitude shift keying, which is abbreviated as ASK. Other is frequency shift keying, phase shift keying, and the last technique is the quadrature amplitude modulation. Okay. So let us have some glimpses of the fundamentals which is required to understand this different transmission technique, analog signal transmission technique. We know that what is the bit rate. So bit rate is basically the number of bits transmitted per second by the sender, where n is represented as the bit rate, which is I just mentioned, it is the number of bits per second. Then the signal element, or sometimes it is also called as the baud rate, is defined as the number of signal elements per second, that is bauds. Okay, so these are two important concepts in data communication: bit rate and baud rate. So baud rate is nothing but the number of elements per second, signal elements per second, and bit rate is number of bits per second. Thus, in the analog transmission of digital data, the signal or the baud rate is always less than or equal to the bit rate. So here in this equation, S is represented as the signal element per second or baud rate, and it is calculated as n represents the bit rate into 1 divided by r bauds. So r, small r here, it represents the total number of bits held by a signal element. Okay, so now we'll see the first digital data to analog signal transmission technique, that is amplitude shift keying. The amplitude shift keying is implemented by changing the amplitude of carrier signal to reflect the amplitude levels in the digital signal. For example, digital data 1, it could not affect the signal, whereas the digital value 0, it may affect the signal by making that signal to 0 amplitude. Hence, the line coding will determine the values of the analog waveform to reflect the digital data which is being carried through the transmission medium. In this figure, you can observe here R, the value of small r, that is the bits per signal element, is 1. So here you can see this first cycle of this wave, this sine wave, you can call it as a sine wave or a digital signal. It represents a one signal element, and how many bits that this one signal element hold? So this signal element, it holds only 1 bit, right? And thus in 1 second we can have a 5 signal elements. Okay, this 1 1 2 3 4 5. So we will have, or we can transmit a 5 baud or 5 signal elements in 1 second. Similarly, we know that because one signal element, it contains or it holds 1 bit, hence the bit rate will be 5 bits per second, and that is mentioned here. If this is so, then how would we calculate the bandwidth of a amplitude shift keying wave? Okay, so the bandwidth of amplitude shift keying, it is calculated as the bandwidth of ASK is proportional to the signal rate, which is mentioned in the next slide, or even in this figure. B represents the bandwidth of amplitude shift keying technique, which is calculated as 1 plus D. Here small d, it may contains two different values, or it contains either 0 or 1. Why it contains 0 or 1? Due to modulation. Due to modulation or due to filtration of signal, the D holds either 0 or 1. And yes, we already know, yes, it represents the baud rate or signal element rate. Okay, so bandwidth of a binary amplitude shift keying signal, it is calculated as 1 plus D into S. Okay. So now in this figure, you can see that a carrier frequency is used which changes the amplitude of the original digital signal, and the result of this multiplexing the original signal or the digital signal with a carrier frequency which is represented in this box will be a modulated signal. Okay, so this modulated signal will possesses the high frequency. So multiplexing is done by using carrier frequency with the original digital signal, and the result of this multiplexing will be a modulated signal which will be transmitted through a transmission media, because we know that we are allowed to send only analog signals, and that's the reason we are converting this digital signal into an analog signal by using a carrier frequency of some amplitude. Okay, now we know that in data communication we normally use the full duplex links with the communication in both the direction. So we need to divide the bandwidth into two with two carrier frequencies, which is shown in this figure. Now the figure shows the position of two carrier frequencies and the bandwidth, and hence the available bandwidth for each direction is now distributed as 50 kilohertz, which leaves us with a data rate of 25 kilobits per second in each direction. Okay, so this is what all about the amplitude shift keying. Now let us move to the frequency shift keying. In frequency shift keying, the idea is to change the frequency of the original digital signal by using a carrier frequency signal or simply a carrier signal. Okay, so here you can see that in a frequency shift keying, we are also multiplexing a carrier frequency with the original digital signal, and the result of this multiplexing will be a analog signal. But remember, here in this case, the carrier signal's frequency and the digital signal's frequency, they will get multiplexed instead of amplitude. If you remember, in case of amplitude, we are changing the amplitude of the carrier signal wave and the digital signal, which is the original, which carries the digital data. And then whatever is the result will be a analog signal. So here in this case of frequency shift keying, same thing is happened. Only the difference is that instead of amplitude, now we are changing the frequency of a carrier signal. And here all these things are same actually. Here small r, it represents the number of bits that per signal element. So 1 bit per signal element is there. And yes, that is the signal rate, capital S, or the baud rate is basically 5, because we can transmit 5 signal elements per second, and hence the baud rate or the signal element rate is 5. The capital N, that is bit rate, is also 5, because in 1 second we are transmitting only 5 bits. Why these are 5 bits? Because each signal element, it holds only 1 bit. If a signal element, it holds 2 bits, in that case our bit rate will be 10 bits. Okay, so that is from the bit rate point of view. And now in case of frequency shift keying, the bandwidth is calculated as 1 plus d into s. So 1 plus d represents the modulation changes. Okay, modulation, due to modulation or due to filtering of signal, the value of d gets changed. It may be either 0 or it may be 1, right? Only 2 values are possible for this d. It may be either 0 or 1, plus 2 delta f. Now what is this 2 delta f? It represents the 2 delta f. It represents the actually the difference between the, as we have just seen, because of duplexing, we are dividing the available bandwidth into 2 channels. So each channel will again be again we calculate the bandwidth for each channel. So bandwidth that will get allocated for each channel will be half of the original bandwidth. If the original bandwidth is 100 kilohertz, then in this full duplexing technique, each channel will get the bandwidth of 50 kilohertz, and the amount of bits that we can transmit across this 50 kilohertz channel will be 25 kbps, kilobits per second, because we know that in analog transmission, the number of bits that we can transmit will always be half of its original capacity of the channel. Okay, so f1 is actually the middle frequency of this first channel, f2 is actually the middle frequency of the second channel, and the difference of this the difference between the middle frequency of both this channel will give me this value 2 delta f. Okay, so in case of frequency shift keying, if the difference between two frequencies is 2 delta f, then the required bandwidth is calculated as 1 plus d into s plus 2 delta f. Then the next concept in this frequency shift keying is the coherent and non-coherent. So let's see what is coherent and non-coherent. So in non-coherent frequency shift keying scheme, when we change the frequency from one to other, then we do not adhere to the current phase of the signal. Okay, that means we can change the phase of the modulated signal as well, or you can call it as the filtration process may change the phase of a signal. That is the case with the non-coherent frequency shift keying scheme. In contrast to this, in coherent frequency shift keying, the switch from one frequency signal to the other, it occurs only at the same phase in the signal. So that means in a non-coherent frequency shift keying, the phase of the modulated signal can get changed, right? Or we are changing the phase or the degree of a carrier signal or a carrier frequency. But in case of coherent frequency shift keying, whenever we are switching from one frequency signal to the other frequency signal, there is no change in the phase of the modulated signal, okay, which occurs due to the multiplexing of the original signal and the carrier frequency signal. Okay, so the modulated signal's phase will remain same as the carrier frequency signal was there during the multiplexing process. So this is a basic difference between the coherent and non-coherent frequency shift keying. So in non-coherent frequency shift keying, we are changing the phase of a carrier frequency during the multiplexing process. Then comes here you can see it's a multi-level frequency shift keying. This is a new concept again. So in multi-level frequency shift keying, it is similar to amplitude shift keying and the frequency shift keying. Only the difference is that the frequency shift keying can use the multiple bits per signal element. Okay, so what it means in multi-level frequency shift keying, it is same as amplitude shift keying, but only the difference is that it now use the multiple bits per signal element. In a simple frequency shift keying technique, we have seen that one bit is hold per signal element, but in multi-level frequency shift keying, multiple bits are contained or multiple bits are hold by a signal element. Okay, one signal element rather. So that means we need to provision for multiple frequencies, each one to represent a group of data bits. And because of this, the bandwidth of the multi-level frequency shift keying, it can be higher, and it is represented as 1 into d into s plus L minus 1 divided by 2 delta f, which actually results into L into s. That means bandwidth required for multi-level frequency shift keying, it is calculated as L into s. So what is L and s? L is the number of signal level. Remember, we have seen how do we calculate the value of L. L is calculated as, let me take a pen so that I can explain this in a better way. So L, which is okay, I'm not able to select the pen, so I'll just orally tell you what is the formula to calculate the number of signal levels. So the number of signal level L, it is calculated as log base 2 R, small r I mean. So small r, we know that the number of bits per signal element. So the bandwidth of a multiple frequency shift keying, it is calculated as L, which represents the number of signal level, into S. S we know, S is represented as the baud rate or a signal element rate. So here in this figure, you can see that the bandwidth of this signal, it is calculated as, which is using a multiple frequency shift keying, it is calculated as 8 megahertz, because the number of levels, the signal levels for this signal is 3, that is 2 to the power 3, and that's how we can calculate it as 8 megahertz. Okay, so if 2 to the power 3, which gives me the answer 8 megahertz. Okay, so that's what about the bandwidth of a multiple frequency shift keying. Now we'll go to the next type of technique, digital data to analog signal conversion technique, that is phase shift keying. Now in phase shift keying, we vary the phase shift of the carrier signal to represent the digital data. Hence, the bandwidth requirement is simply calculated as B, which represents the bandwidth of a signal, is calculated as 1 plus D into S. And again, this formula of calculating the bandwidth is same as a amplitude shift keying technique as well as the frequency shift keying technique, but it is now different than the multiple frequency shift keying technique. So PSK, that is phase shift keying, is much more robust than amplitude shift keying, as it is not that vulnerable to the noise. We know that if the noise is present in the signal, then that changes because of the noise, the amplitude of that signal gets changed, and that is not the case in case of phase shift keying. So here in this figure, you can see that this is the binary phase shift keying technique, where the phase of the signals, they get changed. Okay, so R is again the number of bits per signal element, S is the baud rate or a signal element rate, N is the total number of bits which can be transmitted per second, and B is calculated as 1 plus D into S. Now we'll see how the binary phase shift keying technique is implemented. So again, here we are using a carrier signal which now does not changes the amplitude and the frequency of the original digital signal, but it changes the phase of the original digital signal. So this basically this digital signal, this original digital signal which carries the digital data, it gets multiplexed using this carrier signal, and this is represented by this oscillator. Oscillator means a carrier signal which contains some frequency fc. So fc here, it represents the carrier signal or a carrier frequency. So this get multiplexed with each other, and the resultant signal that we get, or the resultant analog signal that we receive, is basically a multiplexing of the original digital data and the carrier frequency. So this is basically a modulated analog signal using phase shift keying technique. So let's go to the next one, that is quadrature. Quadrature PSK is the last technique. In quadrature phase shift keying, what we are doing is we are increasing the bit rate, and to increase the bit rate, we can code 2 or more bits onto one signal element. Remember, in quadrature PSK, the objective of the quadrature phase shift keying is to increase the bit rate. Now, how we can achieve this increasing the bit rate? So to increase the bit rate, we can code 2 or more bits onto one signal element, and thereby in QPSK, that is quadrature phase shift keying technique, we are using the parallelism of a bit stream, so that every two incoming bits are split up, which is shown in the next slide. You can observe here, in this parallelism of the bit stream, every two incoming bits are split up, and the phase shift carrying frequency we are using to create a modulated signal, okay, which will be considered as an analog signal. So one carrier frequency is phase shifted at 90 degree from the other carrier frequency in the quadrature. Thus, the two resultant phase shift keyed signals, they are then added to produce one of the four signal element. So here the number of signal level that we are going to increase is 4, and we are doing all these things for what purpose? We want to increase a bit rate, or the number of bit transmission capacity. Okay, so to add or to increase, to accelerate the bit rate, we are now representing one signal element with the 2 bits. Okay, this in this figure you can see here. So for multiplexing process, we are using 2x1 converter, where the two different carrier frequencies are used to produce one analog signal, right? So here in this case you can see this carrier signal is used and this carrier signal is used. Only the difference between these two carrier frequencies or two carrier signal is that the other, or the second carrier signal, it is phase shifted at this 90 degree. Okay, and the result of this multiplexing of these two carriers frequencies for this digital data representation is nothing but the modulated analog signal, which will be transmitted across the transmission. So that's it from this presentation. If you have any doubts or any queries, you can reach out to me at the email ID, that is usgare.nitin@kbtcoe.org, or even you can call me at my mobile number, that is 9422237256. So I hope you liked this video, you enjoyed this video. See you soon in the next video with the next conversion technique of analog signal, that is converting a analog data to analog signal. There might be so many questions in your mind, that why there is need to transmit an analog data to analog signal. So I will answer all of your questions in the next video. Thank you so much for patiently listening this video. See you soon in the next video.